Watching Bluey is definitely one of the best things in the world. But whenever you were watching the Little Blue Dog show, did you ever ask yourself, what is the actual age of each of these characters? Or who could be the oldest character in the series? Well, we asked ourselves that exact same question. And believe it or not, we found out some incredible things. For example, we found out that the age difference between the youngest character and the oldest character is almost a century. The Bluey cartoon is full of elderly people. Among them, we can mention Nana Chris, Grandpa Bob, Grandpa Mario, and even the healer's friendly neighbor, Mrs. Doreen. Actually, it's in the episode where Doreen herself has a garage sale that we have the displeasure of meeting the oldest character in the entire series, Granny Pug. The character is a grumpy old lady who gets annoyed at Doreen's garage sale, hits people with her purse, and tries to haggle or trick others to get a mobility scooter until she is put in her place by Gladys, who is actually Muffin disguised as a little old lady. She is so old that we can see her glasses are as thick as Coke bottles. And even so, she is still kind of blind, since she bumps into Doreen's table. From her hunched posture and for being so cranky, we can say that the evil Granny Pug is between 90 and 99 years old. Seriously, I didn't know pugs could live that long. Now moving on to Bluey's grandparents, whom we already mentioned here, who are Nana, Bob, and Mario, we can imagine that the three of them, along with Maynard, who is a longtime friend of Chili's dad, are all very close in age. In the 1980s, where the episode Fairy Tale takes place, we can see that Bob and Nana were around 35 to 45 years old. So if we bring it to the present day, which is about 40 years later, we can calculate that they are currently between 70 and 80 years old. This would explain why Grandpa Mario needed to have heart surgery, and why Grandpa Bob has such a bad memory. Oh, and before we forget, the elderly version of Bandit that appears at the very end of the episode's surprise is also in this exact same age range. The next oldest person we can see in the series is none other than the older brother of Bandit, Bluey's dad. Despite being older than his brother, Radley only got married several years later to Chili's best friend Frisky, as we could see in the episode The Sign. Considering Bandit's age, which is 48 years old, as we'll explain better in a little bit, we can imagine that Radley is about 2 years older than him. So he is pretty much a 50-year-old in the present day. With that in mind, we can deduce that the Bluey cartoon probably takes place a few years ago, since he really doesn't look like he's 50 years old in the episodes he appears in, don't you think? Now, let's talk about the best dad in the series, Bandit. As we already spoiled in the previous topic, he is exactly 48 years old nowadays. But you might be wondering, how do you know that? Well, the series itself showed us this in a very subliminal way that only the most attentive fans managed to notice. It all happened in the minisode Mr. Bear, where the bear puppet is doing an investigation and someone throws Bandit's driver's license near him. And if you pause at the right moment, you'll be able to see that it says he was born on October 25th, 1978. So if we calculate it to the present day, he would be those 48 years old we mentioned. Who would have thought, huh, Bandit? I would have only given you about 47 and a half. Considering that the dads of Bluey's classmates are also from Bandit's generation, we can deduce that they are all the same age as our beloved Blue Healer. If you thought the next one on the list would be Chili, you were wrong. That's because we have two characters who are a little bit older than her, and therefore need to be mentioned first. We are talking first about Brandy, who is Bluey's mom's older sister. The proof of this is in the Red Healer's old family photo, where we can notice that Chili, who is on the left, is a little smaller than Brandy, indicating that she must be 2 years younger than Bluey's aunt. So we can say that she must be around 47 years old, very close to Bandit. The same thing goes for Calypso, the teacher of Bluey and her friends. From her profile and wisdom, you can tell that she has many years of experience as a teacher and is a little older than the characters on the next list. Right after, following the timeline of the Bluey characters, comes Bandit and Radley's youngest brother, Stripe. Since we realized that in Bluey there is a pattern of about a 2-year age gap between siblings, if Radley is 50 years old today and Bandit is 48, it's easy to calculate that Stripe would be 46 years old. That's exactly why his daughters are also younger than Bluey and Bingo. In the episode Fairy Tale, we see that Bandit clearly remembers the first time he met Chili. And maybe you don't know this, but Bluey's mom is wearing a She-Ra costume, a character that was very successful in the 80s. Considering that Bandit is a bit taller than her in the scene where the two of them meet for the first time, we can deduce that Bluey's mom must be a few years younger than the little blue dog's dad, therefore being 45 years old. The same thing goes for Frisky, who for sure studied together with Chili in the same class, as well as for Wendy, who is her neighbor and mom to Judo, who is the same age as Bluey. And we can also imagine that the other moms of Bluey's other classmates are also very close to that age. Now, if you made it this far, surely something in this video kept you hooked until now, so we certainly deserve your subscription. Now, let's talk about the teenagers that appear in the Bluey series. There aren't many of them, but they exist. The most famous ones, without a doubt, are Mia, Captain, and Digger, Rusty's older brother. In the episode Barky Boats, we find out that they are the buddies for the younger kids in Bluey's class. At no point is their age revealed. However, we can notice that Mia and Captain are talking about moving schools, indicating that they are entering high school. Besides that, they have feelings for each other, which is normal in this phase. So we can say that they are probably between 12 and 13 years old, without fear of being wrong. Now, let's talk about the main character of the series, Bluey. There is a debate among fans if she is 6 or 7 years old in the show. And the right answer is both ages. That's because she starts the series at 6 years old, but over the course of, it ends up turning 7, as we can see in the episode Pass the Parcel. And just like the little blue dog, we can deduce that all of her classmates, including Mackenzie, Honey, and Indy, are the same age. Besides that, we can't forget that Judo, her neighbor, Coco, and Snickers were also babies together with Bluey in the episode Baby Race. In other words, besides all of them being the same age, they were born on dates very close to each other, and might even have their birthdays in the exact same month. Bingo's case is actually quite similar to her older sisters. That's because at the beginning of the series, she was 4 years old. However, as we see in the Duck Cake episode and in the Handstand episode, she ended up having her 5th birthday, becoming someone older. We can't forget that, in the same way, all the kids in Bluey's little sister's class, like Buddy, Missy, and Jasper, are the same age, between 4 and 5 years old. And if you are wondering about Pom Pom, she is also the same age, since in the Pass the Parcel episode, we can see her invitation for her 5th birthday. She is just really small. Up next, the youngest character who is closest to Bingo and her classmates, without a doubt, is Muffin. If you remember correctly, a few episodes talk about the character's birthday, as is the case in The Quiet Game, where Bandit goes with his daughters to a store to buy a birthday present for Bluey's cousin. And, like several characters, in the Pass the Parcel episode, we can see her birthday invitation, where we can see that she is stopping being 3 years old to turn 4. Following the tradition of the characters in the series, the 2-year age gap between sibling characters remains. Which means that if Muffin was 3 years old at the start of the Bluey series, Socks would be between 1 and 1.5 years old. Which would explain why in one of the Heeler family Christmases, she still walked on 4 legs and acted like a regular dog. However, in the following year's Christmas, you can see that Socks grew a little more and turned 2, because we see her walking on 2 legs and already talking to the other characters, something she didn't do before. And if you are thinking that Socks is the youngest character in the series, we have to disappoint you. That's because there is a character even younger than Bluey's former youngest cousin. We are talking about Bluey's future cousin, Brandy's child. Of course, we haven't seen him eye to eye yet, because he is in his mom's belly, and therefore he is already a living being with full rights. And every life is important, which is why Bluey's cousin, who doesn't have a name yet, is the youngest seen in the series, being only a few months old. Or at least he was. That's because in the last episode of the 3rd season, in the final scene, we saw someone even younger, Bluey's daughter. And in her case, things are even more interesting. That's because she will only be born many years after the last events of the series. So, mathematically, we can say that she would currently be something like -25 years old, since she looks to be 5 years old, and Bluey should only give birth to her 20 years from now. Our list is over, but you don't have to leave. We've set aside 2 videos right here on the side for you to keep having fun. Pick one and let's go to the next one.